you should roll.
Have you ever heard this one?
Sounds familiar.
Here's Jack. Here's Jack.
He doesn't even have a pulse.
Here's Jack.
Boy, I hope this works. I think it is. All right, it's the Jack Henke Show. I have a canned opening. I should open up the can. Live from the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. It's the Jack Henke Show. 56 minutes of radio delight and 4 minutes of commercials coming to you every week at this time. Jack's guest today is Terry Sweet, and via telephone, hopefully, the music of Cedarburg's own Elizabeth Kashinn. Now your host and mine. A man who has seen it all, but understands very little of it. Jack Henke.
TFS?
That was rude, wasn't it?
You were right.
Yeah.
We had a bet. I said you didn't have a pulse. Terry said you did.
Somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Yeah, right. You came to life.
It's weak, but it's a pulse.
They opened the can.
Right here, Java House.
Yes, Java House. Let's start with the Java
There
House.
you go.
Thanks to the Java House. Did you know, Bulldog, that the Java House is one of the few, or the only, local coffee houses that roast flavored coffees?
I did not know that, Jack.
And you see, you're learning. And did you know that today they are featuring chocolate cherry and Hawaii macadamia nut?
Ooh, that second one sounds like it's in my wheelhouse.
Shut up.
I like the sound of that one.
You like tall, dark Italians.
Are we talking about coffee?
Giovanna. It's gorgeous. Like Michael Corleone in Sicily. Boom.
That's your career.
That's right.
You keep this up. God. Holy shit.
There it is. Our first one at 12:00. Not even 12:01. You didn't even make it into the hour.
I asked if we could swear, and he said Jack will beat you to it.
And technically, as a man of the cloth.
Terry cloth?
I use that as a wipe.
You wouldn't be the first.
We're off to a great start, folks.
Rolling. Terry William Sweet from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Glad you're here.
I feel good.
You're like one of the only 3-time guests that we've had.
There aren't a lot.
Elizabeth is going to
Usually
be
they leave the country after the second.
Yeah. Terry ain't a quick learner.
That's true. I'm smart, but I'm slow.
What did Abraham Lincoln say? He had a mind like made out of steel. It takes a while to scratch it, but once you get through, it's hard to get it out of there.
All right.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so stuff's going on at the Job House. We got stormy summer weather, and this is going to be the last frickin' weekend of August.
So kind of a wild summer, wasn't it? And wild in that nothing happened.
Yeah, real different.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
it was summer. I hadn't noticed.
Right.
So,
I'm with you.
I mean,
Yeah,
just like-
it's
I missed
crazy.
it.
It's
I missed
crazy.
it. Yeah.
Well, this week was. I'm done with the '90s. I'm happy with that. Not your music.
making your way into
selection.
the 2000s. are you?
Yes. I'm so done with the '90s.
Oh my!
I don't need that. We were in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't as hot as it's been this week.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And that is a steamy place.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Did it?
we got speaking of steamy, we got a major downpour.
Oh, well, good time to go in your houses and listen to CPL radio.
Yeah,
everybody.
crank it up.
Yeah, come on. Let's,
So, what do you have to say for yourself, Terry?
What do I have to say?
You don't have to say anything.
I feel good.
Good?
I feel like rocking.
All
Feel
right.
like I
James
always
Brown,
do.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. You bet. So, Bulldog,
Yes, sir.
what else is going on in Cedarburg? You're right here in the middle of it. You're in the pulse.
In the heart
You
of
got
it,
the pulse.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Books are incubating as we speak. Listen closely. That's the sound of virus falling off of books.
Really? Is that what it sounds like? That's pretty good.
Right on the fly. That's good.
Oh, he's got a good trigger finger over there.
Yuck.
That's what she said.
I can tell we're a rock and roll station now.
Mount Hagaloogie over there.
That's right.
Terry, do you remember WQFM?
Of course.
We were just talking about that before you got here.
Yeah. Well, what? I was early.
And I was only 5, but
too
yeah.
Speaking of, absolutely.
Bulldog's been ripping it off.
I have been.
The idea.
Shamelessly, mercilessly aping a dead radio station. That's what I
Aping.
do.
QFM becomes JUFM.
Oh, my rabbi. He hates when I do this show.
Oi! You gotta stop doing the show with that boy.
I don't know why. If only there was a clue.
This isn't CPL radio. This is WOY.
Oi!
It's the Goyim show.
Oh my God! Goyim show. There's nothing.
Goyim if you got him.
Nothing kosher about the radio you do. Oh boy!
That's how those bells go, isn't it? Goyim. Goyim.
That's our chant.
That Goyim show, Chuck Barris.
We do that on Yom Kippur. Oh my! So yes,
Was Chuck Barris one of your people?
Chuck. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. You wrote? Didn't you write Palisades Park? It was one
Yeah.
that was his thing. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Created the dating game. Created the Gong Show. And lost his mind. And then was an assassin for the CIA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very, very colorful.
I actually am trying to pattern my career after his. Whenever
Will you be
possible.
killing anyone today?
The day's not over, Terry.
The day is young. He's got 5 kids.
That's right. Well, the more the merrier. So yeah, but no, I've been very quiet in Cedarburg lately. I checked up on Cedarburg Uncensored. People are kind of getting along over there today.
What?
Yeah, a little bit. No major skirmishes, no fires to put out. People are wondering why there's all these stray cats walking around Alliance Church today, the Bible church over there. So I guess Alliance Bible Church is being surrounded by feral cats, I guess.
Oh, yeah, they come out on the bike path.
There we go.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if they're looking for salvation or something, but
Hey, they could come to me.
salvation or Frisky's.
Yeah, that's where I'd go first. Were I a feral cat?
Yes, that's the only.
You're a feral sweet.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so they're discussing that right now. What to do about the feral cat problem around the church?
Well, if that's the biggest problem around, then things are pretty good.
We're doing all right.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can't complain.
Nakwan's having a big brouhaha about their classes going for all virtual.
I saw they had some people who kicked apart some cardboard boxes and made signs. And stood on the
Rowdy from
street.
Equine.
Yeah, that's right. So on the backside said 55-inch LCD something or other, and then the other side said "Free our kids." So so I wasn't sure what they were protesting, if they wanted bigger televisions or better education. But yeah, so that's interesting.
It is.
They're very upset.
Might
They're
be the
very
same thing.
Right. One begets the other.
Speaking of begetting, I got some.
Yes, Reverend.
I got some church things to attend to.
You would.
I just got this here email yesterday. Perfect timing for the show, and I just love the beginning. Dear Reverend William John Henke Jr. Dear, I'm a reverend.
That's true. That's true. You are, aren't you?
I find that whole line in suspect.
But this is big. This is big. The problem with all the religions these days is that they have all of their holidays. They're so old. People are tired of them.
Mine especially.
See, quit bragging.
5,000 years.
Listen, we are excited to unveil a brand new religious holiday. This is from the church. Universal Day. On November 3rd, 2020, happens also to be Election Day, we are inviting members of the Universal Life Church ministries like yourself to celebrate Universal Day with us by introspecting, organizing, and speaking up for that which is right.
As long as I've known you, you have yet to ever introspect.
Yeah. Or speak up for what's right. I don't think you should go to that.
I think you might want to
Go to it. I'm a celebrant.
I'm officiating.
Yeah, I'm officiating. There are only 67 days until Universal Day.
Oh, boy.
Universal Day.
What? So how do we get our ducks in order in those 67 days? What do I need to do, Reverend?
Just listen to me. We got to have a special broadcast on Universal Day.
Just listen to me.
No matter which candidates or policies you support, the power of your vote is immense.
It is.
As it gives you a say in what our collective future should be like. That said, these are not normal times. No shit. There are many ways to take part. There are many ways to take part in Universal Day, from engaging in meditation or prayer to writing your elected officials, because that always works, to joining forces with your fellow ministers. See, fellow ministers. This is a thing. This is an intra-ministry communication. I probably shouldn't even be sharing with the public at large.
So if I stay home and watch,
guy I am.
Cartoons,
Cartoons, the Flintstones.
Can I stay home and watch the Flintstones?
Is there anything else on that list? A way to celebrate? Because so far, this is not connecting.
Not
with
working
me.
for me.
There's something here about gummies and smoking, but I'm not sure. That part didn't print out exactly clearly.
I might be down with that.
Okay, Reverend, you got my money. All right, just take my money. Just take my wallet. That's
Don't you
fine.
think that's great, though?
I love
Forget how you do it. Just
do it.
It's that this church has the balls to introduce a new holiday. We just said we're going to do it. We have an online church. Let's have a holiday. What? There's nothing going on November 3rd.
This is how Bibles are written. This is the beginning.
It is. You don't believe that. What's that old one? The Old Testament?
No, we're big on the old one, but
What's the old one? The Old Testament.
We didn't get into the sequel too much, but we're big on the old one. Yes.
And that one's pure BS because it was all handed down verbally. I mean, it's like the old game of telephone. I tell Terry something, by the time he gets around to Bulldog, you got 12 disciples. When first there was just a hooker named Mary Magdalene.
Hey, that don't make her bad.
Oh, Reverend. Oh, are you in trouble, Reverend?
However many listeners you had before the show started, you have about a third of that now.
No way. We're booming.
CPL Radio is not responsible for anything that's said from noon to 1 o'clock.
Come on.
Well, Reverend, I think this is a very exciting announcement.
It is.
And
I'm ready to sermonize on
67 days to process all of this.
I'm going to give you weekly updates.
And, speaking of, we do have a visitor here in the studio besides the great Terry Sweet.
A reverend.
Well, he's not a reverend yet,
Yes.
but if you, I'm sure by the end of the show he could be.
He's a priest of the people.
Bud Lincoln. Bud Lincoln's here today. And we're pretty excited to have him.
Bud,
yeah, good old Bud. Yep.
Bud.
Remember last week he introduced a composition of his own composing? In
Really,
celebration-
as opposed to another composition. Decomposing.
And you remember he's still working on his, he's reworking his debut album, All You Need Is a Credit Card. So that's the title of it. And I heard actually he's working, to celebrate, he's working on a new cocktail. You've heard of the B&B. He's working on the B&B. So, we're not sure what the third B is. We have no idea.
Let's
but that's
find out.
okay. But
Maybe
Jim Beam.
Okay.
Maybe he
Very
can
good.
unleash it on Universal Day.
But there you go. 67 days to get it right. He'll be mixing away. But Bud, let me know, and maybe I don't know, Bud, do you want to introduce this a little bit yourself, or do you want to, do you trust me with this, the gravitas of this moment?
Well, Jack and Jeff kicking it with old Bud again. Say, me and a local cohort have been recently sticking it to the guitar fretboard.
Did he get out, that cohort? I thought he was still in. Go ahead.
We've been sticking to the fretboard. Practicing our newest song from last week, and it's been like trying how to learn chopsticks again all day and all night, and in between drinking, of course.
Of course.
And I think the listeners will surely notice and appreciate our efforts and commitment
There it is.
Careful.
to the audience and my allegiance to CPL Radio.
3 syllables.
Jack and Jeff, we really hammered out this improved track
With a hammer.
in a jiff. Jack and Jeff. I'm Bud Lincoln, and I approve this message.
It's poetry.
By the way, listeners, please call in with your thoughts, comments, and any improvements. Hope you enjoy.
The phones will be off the hook.
Bud
Here we
out.
go. All right.
out.
Ready to roll? Here it comes, folks.
I woke up this morning and I had a flat. I got out my tire iron and I got out my jack. But it didn't help at all. Ooh, baby, you know I had a flat. Now 2 and 2 ain't 5, and 5 and 5 ain't 4. So pass the potatoes, honey. You know I have some more.
Well, you get the idea.
Wow.
Pass the potato salad.
What's great is that Bud wasn't sure if the theme of the entire album would be automobiles or starchy foods. He wasn't sure if there would be a theme, like a concept album, so he brought them together.
Nice.
So, it's pretty exciting. So, yeah. Thank you, Bud. That was wonderful.
Bud out.
People always think he's insulting when he says that, but it's really an endearing thing. So it's all right.
Sounds like it.
So there we go, folks. A visit from Bud Lincoln.
Boy, it's hard to beat that.
All you need is a credit card number. Coming out sometime 2000 and...
What was that? You hawking loogies over there?
A little problem there, yeah, absolutely. So we should probably take a break. When we come back, we'll cover a little more of the local scene, and we'll talk to a true composer.
Instead of a decomposer.
Terry Sweet. We'll be back, folks, on the Jack Henke Show live, believe it or not, from the community room of the Cedarburg Public Library.
Happy Universal Day.
It's the Jack Henke Show where we debate things like feral cats behind churches and Elton John. And here's Jack to talk to the great Terry Sweet.
Oh, shucks.
So, Terry,
my job.
you are here again as a guest star, music aficionado, and at Earworm. What do you call him?
I call him the Khan Noonien Singh, who is the full name of Khan. Bit of a Star Trek problem over here. Played by Ricardo Montalban, who controlled various members on the bridge of the Enterprise with something called the SETI Alpha Eel, which worked its way into your ear, coiled itself around the cerebral cortex, and then you did anything Khan asked you to do.
I could use one of those.
Couldn't we all? That would decide the election.
There are no short answers when Bulldog is is a Star Trek
Got 60
freak,
minutes to kill here, man.
geek. Before I get to Terry, there's one thing I just want to cover locally real quick.
Yeah.
This past Thursday in the news graphic, there's a writer, Van Mobley.
I know.
He's also the village president of Thiensville.
Yeah.
And I think he's a professor at Concordia or something.
Yep.
I swear you are. I've never seen you and Van Mobley together in the same room, so I think you are one and the same person.
I don't know if we'd get along.
Well, that might explain your behavior.
So you're
Yes, no. Go.
I'm of two.
Inside is brilliant.
Yes, no.
Joe Flynn, Jerry Lewis.
I'm of two minds on this topic.
Of course you are. That's what I'm saying.
Are you accusing me of Jekyll and Hydeism?
No. I'm talking Mobley and Bulldogism, for God's sakes. This is out of his piece.
Yes.
And I used the word piece liberally yesterday in the paper.
Yes.
These are some of the old man words he used, like you used. Squinted,
I like that one.
strolled, chimed, wandered, growled, gabbled, confessed, and more. There are more than that. He fit all those into one column. That's like listening to you.
I told him to take more out. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Wait, did I say that?
Sybil. You were very uncivil.
You know?
So
my thesaurus never clotheth.
You're what?
My thesaurus.
Oh, you're the thesaurus. You're a thesaurus.
Sylvester is talking about thesauruses.
Mel Blanc is another one of my personalities. Yeah.
He's got a few hundred in there. But enough about you. And more,
all of us.
and more about Terry.
Indeed.
So Terry is joining us. Again, he proved his brilliance 2 weeks ago on a project with me in Nashville. It was just fantastic. It turned out wonderfully, and it's about to hit the airwaves this coming Monday.
Cool.
TV, the full sing is going to be ready to the end of next week. But new spots are coming for Commerce State Bank that Terry managed to take from a pop song to a rock and roll, classic rock. So it would have been played on Jew FM.
Shalom.
Shalom Bala.
Exactly.
But Terry, so we asked you to come back today and talk more about music and jingles. You got anything you want to talk about in music in general and the way the world's going in music? Are you not really?
No.
You want to talk about your own world, right? That's cool.
Good choice.
Yeah,
Didn't really want to talk about anything. To tell you the truth.
that's a first.
Just move on.
But you could, when you get a project like that, when you want to, you wrote the original jingle.
Yeah.
And
What,
so
15 years ago?
Yes,
right?
15 years ago.
Yeah.
And performed it.
Yeah.
A good part of it.
Yeah.
And we asked you to come to refresh it, but not lose what we had before.
Right.
Is that like remodeling a house, where sometimes the remodeling is harder than the original build?
I thought so. Yeah. And whenever I have that, it's a tough thing to do because you already wrote this song a long time ago, and now you're trying to kind of undo. I mean, if you were cooking something and you had all these ingredients, you're saying, okay, well, now take some of those out and put some different ones in there. It's kind of a awkward mental exercise.
But you've done it successfully multiple times.
Yeah.
And this is your latest example, or the public will hear it. And we'll have Joe Fazio, the CEO, on. He came along on the project and was overwhelmed by the talent and the attitude of the musicians. It was really something.
Oh, it's unbelievable. The talent down there is it's of such a high level that it's just stunning.
You've got your own wrecking crew, eh?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And, I write charts for them, but I also give them some freedom. I tell them what we're trying to accomplish, tell them what we're trying to do, and they get it. They've been in the studio many, many times, and we work it out. It just comes together. It sounds great.
Now, when you say charts, what does that mean to the person who doesn't understand?
Sheet music.
Okay. And the sheet music you were explaining to Joe, your sheet music looks different than what you see. Someone plays the piano would sit down and see the piece.
There's a system called the Nashville numbering system.
Okay.
And it's, without getting too detailed here, but if you looked at a piano and you started on middle C and you went C, D, E, F, G, A, B, that'd be, now change those, instead of letters, change them to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so if I say 1 and we're in the key of C, everybody's going to play a C chord. If I say 4, they're going to play an F chord because you go C, D, E, F. That's 4. Okay.
This is a major industry secret you're dumping on us.
Well, no, that's why it was fascinating and confusing, but still, it was something to see. How does something like that make it easier, Terry? Doesn't that make it harder?
No.
And how does that work?
It's really simple. It's really simple. I was working on something for somebody yesterday, and she was playing a song that she wrote, and I was going to play some stuff on it. And as I listened to it, I could tell she was on the 4 chord or the 5 chord or the 6 minor or whatever. But the funny thing is, I didn't know what key she was in. And with numbers, you don't care. So if they have all the numbers in front of them and they know where the stops are, and is it a cold stop or are they going to hang on to that? There's a couple little things you write on there so that they know. But once you're in that numbering system, you can say, let's do this in E. No, let's try it in F. Let's try it in F sharp, which we did in Nashville because we had the lead singer there. And, when I first went to the session, I thought we were going to do it in E flat. And then we tried it in E, and I went, that's better. Let's try it in F. So the whole band played it in F. And she sang it, and I went, what if we try it? Let's go one more. Let's go to F sharp.
Push the envelope.
Yeah, exactly. And she sang it, and now she's really kind of pushing it towards the top of her range, but she's throaty, and it sounded really good. And I went, there it is.
Right.
F sharp. Boom. And so everybody doesn't have to think, okay, F sharp, B, C sharp. They don't have to think that. They just go 1, 4, 5 or whatever it is, and doesn't matter what key you're in.
It sounds like enormous fun.
It's unbelievable.
People have said to me, aren't you going to retire? And I go, what, are you kidding?
It keeps you young, doesn't it?
Stop doing this.
Being around all those great talents. And the thing that really struck our client in particular was these talented musicians were such perfectionists. Terry, I know you were looking for certain things to hear or see, but so many, I would say 90% of the retakes were done at the request of the performers.
Right.
Because they would say, let's go back to that bar. Something didn't feel right there. I didn't do it. I can't exactly put my finger on it. But
right.
So,
well, they know, each one of them, we're hearing all of them at the same time. But they know what they did. And if they did something in bar 14 that nobody else heard, they still know it. And they know we'll hear it later when we're mixing because we're going to isolate everything and all that. And it's not really that they're worried about that. They just want it right. And they know that they didn't play that bar perfectly, and so they want that one again. And typically, if let's say the guitar player says, I need 14 through 16, the drummer usually goes, you know what, I need those two also, or something like that. And so we'll go back and punch those in. If there's really more than that, I'll go, let's just do a whole new take.
Right.
And we keep everything, every take we do. I don't know if you know that. Even from the very first time they ran it to the last one that we kept all of those. Because you never know, maybe somebody did something really interesting or really cool on the third take.
By accident, that was perfect.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the story of my life right there.
Right.
I do most things by accident.
Well, you have to be open to be able to adjust on the fly.
Absolutely.
And able to do that because you come in with a very definite idea. As long as the vision or the goal is achieved, you have all these talented people. Well, they make it better.
It's something that I had to learn over the years how to do because, I do pretty comprehensive demos, as you know.
Yep.
I mean, I've got keyboards and guitars.
A demo is, please explain.
Well, a demo is a rough version of the song for presentation purposes. And so it's probably me doing all the singing, lead vocals, background vocals, every ooh and ah. And it's me playing piano, which is my natural instrument, but it's also me using computerized sounds to create drums and bass and guitar and brass and strings, whatever we're talking about. So to me, it's sort of a line drawing compared to a final artwork. And so it's something that I can take into a client and say, this is rough, but this is the general idea. At least from this, you can get the melody, the lyrics, the general feel of the piece, and I can explain to you from here what we really ought to do in the studio. Instead of me, in this case, instead of me singing, it should be a female lead singer. And, we're going to use a mixed male and female group for the background vocals. And we're going to use, live guitar, live bass, live drums. In this case, we had the drummer from the band Kansas.
Wow.
So I mean, we really had some top shelf talent.
Who is the bass player?
He plays on. He's like
Mills was going through it.
Yeah, he's like done all these guys. They've played on everything. I mean, if you name somebody that recorded in Nashville, these guys were probably on the session. And so. I don't think you could have put together a better band if you were in L.A. or New York or anywhere. I don't think there's a better band than what we had.
No, and it's not just country music. In fact, this was not country music.
No,
what we came out of it was classic rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, GFM approved.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a shift in music now, like to the point where it's getting more to Nashville and less like the coast, like L.A., New York? I mean, because L.A. used to be where which would make sense economically and other reasons too.
Well, I kind of do think that in terms of the studio scene, I don't think New York or L.A. is doing, or even Chicago is doing what Nashville's doing. Yeah. With the way music has gone with all the electronics replacing live players and all that, all the home studios that are actually capable of turning out some pretty good product.
Right.
A lot of the studio scene has died or really diminished from where it was, but Nashville's still cooking.
Yeah.
And they've got all the the country stars there, but they also have a lot of rock people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've done every genre in Nashville. Yeah. And it's so funny to me because Nashville is, people think country. And so I'll be at a client meeting and I'll go, we're going to do this in Nashville. And they'll go, well, this isn't country, is it? And I'll go, you know what? I have done jazz. I've done classical music. I've done rock. I've done folk. I've done every kind of music in Nashville. And sometimes the same day, I've done 3 or 4 different genres with the same players.
Well, there's nothing like the CPL radio studio.
Well,
Yeah.
the old whiteboard here for sound containment.
This is very impressive.
Thank you.
So I mean, we had For example, the female soloist that we had on there was a woman named Kim Keys, who, she travels with Peter Cetera and lots of
Amy
big
Grant.
name-
They were talking
Amy.
about.
She travels with Amy Grant all the time.
Yeah.
But she does all the studio work, and I've used her on hard rock stuff like this, but I've used her on like medical spots where the singer needs to sound very soft and maternal and everything, and she does that.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's like your mom is sitting there singing softly in your ear, and she'll turn around and do this kind of harsh rock thing, and she's just could do anything.
Yeah.
And that's true of a lot of those people.
Yeah.
So
Right.
So they're amazingly impressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they all work hard. There's not
They
a
do
slacker among them.
Not at all. They want it. They're pros. They want it right, and they're going to make it right.
Right.
And so But what you started off asking me about is the transition. And it is an interesting process that I have to deal with in my head because I've done this comprehensive demo, and that's pretty much how I'm hearing what we're going to do. And you get there, and now you've got 4 or 5 different brains coming to work on this, and they're not playing exactly what I played.
Right.
And so you have to say, well, I like that better, but you can't get so caught up into it that it's not what you wanted.
Right.
So
or
there's
anything the client won't recognize.
Exactly.
Of what you promised.
So there's a balance there. You can, I told you that Dennis Holt, the drummer, came over and he said, why I love working for you? You let the Cowboys run.
All right.
And there's something to that.
Right.
I want them to put their musicality on it. But at the same time, I can't let them change it too much. It's got to, they got to stay in the lane a little
It's
bit.
a balance.
Right.
Definitely
Yeah.
balance.
So, that's part of my job in the studio is to produce this so that I get the best out of them, but get what the client needs.
Right. And what the client needs is to build their business.
Exactly.
And
right.
it's not just done to say, wow. I mean,
Then,
we've all whenever we do a pitch together, you start talking about how you learn the alphabet. Excuse me.
Yep. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Who hasn't sung that song?
Right.
That's the original jingle. Information tied to a simple melody that everybody remembers.
Right.
That is a jingle.
Right.
And that's what this is.
Of course, your alphabet only has 6 letters.
Well, that's
Or
all I
7,
learned.
actually. Yeah,
Are there more than that?
He goes back to A right after G. It's amazing. Wow. Well, there's a great lesson there too for creatives or young people who want to get into music and things that they only hear the finished product and they never understand. It takes years for some people to understand that it's not going to come out perfect your first time. It's the rough sketch. It's the it's the demo. It's the it's a tough.
Well, that's a danger too, actually,
tough
Bulldog,
lesson.
because one thing we talk about all the time, Terry and I talk about, is you play the demo, and once people hear that, they think that's the finished song.
Sure.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, this is good. You get the idea, but this is so different, and you have to have the trust of the people because, like, take for example, Commerce State Bank, the one we just finished. Terry's doing the singing on the demo, and we're saying, but we're going to have a female lead, and they're saying they could very easily have said, I like the way it sounds with the guy. Why do you need a female?
I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Stop doing such good demos, you.
That's another problem
Yeah,
for me.
it is, and it's for us too with artwork. I've described if we don't go in with a pencil sketch, then people know it's rough. If you go in with something that's got colors and looks tight, they're thinking, this is it.
Right.
No, this is rough.
Right. So at first you're saying, this is really great. I have something great for you.
Right.
And then you have to kind of turn around after they say, yeah, I like it. You go, this actually isn't great, but I'm gonna make it great.
Yeah. Right.
And so
It's a balance.
yeah, it is.
Delicate balance.
It is a balance. But like in this particular case, the Commerce State Bank, the demo was pretty good. Truthfully, they probably could have aired it, and nobody would have thrown up when they heard it. Maybe I would, but nobody else.
Yeah.
It's a very visceral reaction to.
Did anyone throw up when they heard the demo?
We're handing
That's
out paper
interactive.
bags.
That's
for
an
the,
interactive jingle.
That's a standard that I use. Has anyone in the room thrown up?
I never let
No.
that bother me.
This is a vomit-free track.
But then just like with your client on this, they go down to Nashville with us, and they hear the magic that comes out of those players and singers, and they're like, "Oh, I see."
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about all this magic, and I do have a sample of that. Do we want to get to that before we roll the break? I do have I have a file that's labeled Lasker.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
yeah.
How long do I have? Do I have a couple minutes or not?
You sure do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
the first time that I came here, which was February maybe?
It was a while ago.
I think
February
maybe
sounds
and
about right.
you were
Yeah.
here. I think you were here for the first show.
Yeah.
You were on the
first
dais.
show.
You were on the dais.
Yeah, I was on the dais.
Oh, listen to that old man again.
So-
You said you had two things going on in your head. He's got an even dozen in there.
So I walked in that day, and there were a couple of people over here on the other side of the room. I didn't pay any attention to them. I was looking for you, and I walked past them, and somebody went, "Terry?" And I turned around, and it was one of my oldest friends in life, Anthony Kashinn. I played in bands with him since I was 14. And
I love when that happens on this show. It happens quite a bit, actually more
Yeah.
often than
that doesn't
things like
surprise
that
me.
happen.
And I hadn't seen him in years, but we grew up together. We were brothers, and then he introduces me to his daughter, Elizabeth Kashinn. And then he starts telling me how fantastic. Oh my God, you got to get together with you. And I'm thinking, friends and family, right? You can't really believe them, but then all of a sudden she stood up over here and sang and played her guitar, and I went, yeah, actually she really is good. And so they end up coming over to my house, and we sit in the studio. We had a lovely evening. Mostly me and Elizabeth kind of talking and sort of getting to know you.
Anthony's like, "Hey, brother, remember?
No,
I'm over here."
It's the connection he wanted to make.
Oh, very good, very good.
And so one of the things she tells me is that she really likes Taylor Swift and kind of models herself a little bit, at least maybe vocally, after her. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Well, only a couple of days later, I got a call from this ad agency that is in Illinois, just outside of Chicago. I do a lot of work for them, and they have this client they want me to do a jingle for. It's up in Eau Claire. It's called Lasker Jewelers. And they said the thing about this jewelry store is they're really totally into engagement rings. That's their deal. And so we are looking at a very young audience, female, because even though males tend to buy the engagement rings, that decision is driven by the female.
Indeed.
As in everything else in our lives. So we want this aimed young female, like 18-year-old female. And I'm like, yeah, like Taylor Swift? And they were like, yeah, something like that. And I went, it's interesting that this would come up twice in 1 week. And so I wrote a song for Lasker. It's very simple. They had a good theme line. They gave me the theme line, and it was called, Before You Ask Her, Come and See Lasker.
Nice.
I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's very jingly, but it's very to the point. It's
Sure.
a call to action.
Very memorable.
Yeah. And so I went, yeah, I can work with that. So I write this song, record a demo. I called up Elizabeth. And I said, hey, want to sing on a jingle? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, come on over. So she comes over, and she knocks this thing out of the park. She's
That's
like,
awesome.
She's like,
That's fantastic.
perfect. All this Nashville stuff we've been talking about.
Yep.
And, I record 99.9% of my stuff in Nashville. But I went, in this case, I think Elizabeth is perfect. I don't know anybody in Nashville that could have done any better. And so
Right here in Cedarburg, folks.
So
That's awesome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's
so I present it to the client, and they're like, "Yippee skippy!" And,
Fantastic.
and again, nobody threw up. And so they went up to Eau Claire and they presented it. Client loved it, and then COVID happened. Store closes. Everything's dead. project's dead ski. And so we're like, no, okay.
And amazing, all that
We'll wait it out.
upfront work you do,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it was gone. And or at least on hiatus.
Right. On
And
life
so
support.
3 months later, on a Thursday afternoon, client calls me. He goes, "We need to get this done." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "I need it on the air by Tuesday." I said, "You sit here for 3 months and you give me 2 days?"
Yeah, that's how we work, yes.
He said, "Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Can you do it?" I went, "Well, of course I can do it." So I said, "Any changes?" And I'm thinking, "Oh God, no changes." And he goes, "No, you just, it needs to be kind of polished, needs finishing up." But I said, "Lyrics are good, singer's good, all that." And he's like, "Yep." I went, "All right." So I took what I had. I sent it to one of my guitar players in Nashville. He put a couple of guitars on there. Then he sent it back to me. I put it into my session. Then I sent the whole session to my engineer in Nashville, and he mixed it for me on Saturday, sent it back to me. I had it on Monday.
There we go.
And so Elizabeth did great. She's got herself on there. I put some vocals on it with her, and away we go. The client had some fascinating remarks that I can't tell you, but
All positive.
oh, very positive. Yes,
That's fantastic.
about how it stuck in her head and it was actually driving her wild, sort of like the Wrath of Khan.
Yes. We've dialed back to Star Trek, so
have.
I'm happy. All right, well, as Captain Jean-Luc Picard would say, engage, and then Elizabeth will take us to break. When we come back, we might even get her on the phone. Is that a possibility?
I'll give her a call.
All right, we'll see how it goes. So, all right, here we go. Engage.
Before you ask her, come and see Lasker. You wanna take her breath away. So before you ask her, come and see Lasker. Lasker Jewelers. Lasker Jewelers. Before you ask her, come and see Lasker. You wanna take her breath away. So before you ask her, come and see Lasker. Lasker Jewelers. Lasker Jewelers. Before you ask her, come and see Lasker. Before you ask her, come and see Lasker. Before you ask her, come and see Lasker. Lasker Jewelers.
With apologies to Jackson Brown. I believe that's actually either an RIAA or ASCAP violation I just did. So here's Jack.
Nice.
Kiss your ass cap.
Thank you.
Now, we are here. We are joined by phone by the talented and hardworking young songstress. Is that a word?
Sure.
Ellie Kashinn. Elizabeth, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great.
Good.
Thank you for having me via phone.
You bet. What was it like working with Terry? Tell us the truth.
The truth is, it was awesome. It was really an amazing experience. I was super honored that he would call me and ask me to do that.
Well, we thought, how in the hell did he get Taylor Swift to sing that Lasker song? And it turns out it was you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment.
So should Taylor, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Really. So, Terry, talk about working with Elizabeth. And
Well, it was cool. I think it was her first jingle that she's ever sung.
Definitely.
And she got to hear the demo or, some rough version that I did.
Mm-hmm. Did you sing the demo, the original? How'd you do that?
How did I? I don't remember. What did I do, Elizabeth? How did I teach you that song?
Yeah, you had a vocal track down on there, and then you had me listen to it a few times, and then took it off, and I sang my part.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. That
Yeah.
sounds like me.
Yeah. That's how magic works, right?
Yeah.
And so you recorded Ellie right here in Wauwatosa?
Yeah, I did.
Excellent.
Yep.
And what's important, I think, one of the takeaways is so many young artists don't want to, they think they're above doing work for money, but you got to eat.
Well,
and it's a great way to get known and expand your audience base and everything.
Well, yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I think most singers and musicians want to be in the studio.
Right.
For us, there's no better place to be. That's just heaven.
Yeah.
And so whether you're working on your own stuff or you're working on a project for somebody else, I think I think that's the place to be.
You bet. Now, this is an interesting thing. I don't know if you heard earlier, Ellie, that when Terry first saw your dad again after so many years, that it was like he was saying how great you were, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, I hear that all the time." But then he heard you on the show, the Jack Henke Show, that discovered you. Don't forget about that someday.
I would never.
'Cause we like to eat too.
He said, "Wow, she could." Oh, I think your term was, "Huh."
Yeah.
And that's how Terry, the click, it goes in Terry. He goes, "Huh, that's good." So you did a hell of a job here on the show.
The Jack Henke Show. It was the Jack Henke Show that made the Lasker jingle possible.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Okay.
Connecting the dots. Yep. That's true.
Very cool. So what do you think Ellie's future holds for her?
I think she has a very bright future. She's writing some songs that are amazing.
She is.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a trifecta that we'll close the show on, so that's a wonderful thing.
Okay.
When we get there. But,
Sure.
yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about before heading to her demos of her new songs?
Don't want to reveal anything right now.
Good.
Ooh, all right.
There might be secret stuff.
Secrets.
If you reveal something, this is only an audio broadcast anyway.
Well, that's true, but
You're going to reveal your inner self.
I think I've done that.
He's really con.
There are ladies present. For heaven's sake, gentlemen.
Great. Okay. Well, speaking of ladies present, Ellie, why don't you introduce some songs for us and tell us about them? Or not?
Go for it.
Okay, so I sent you guys 3 demos because unfortunately I couldn't be there today. There's 3 songs that I actually got to work on like over the quarantine because that was a great time to sit down and crank out some music. And I don't know what order you guys are going to play them in, but there's one on there called Days Left to Live, which is one that my parents love more than I do, but I bet they're going to enjoy getting to hear it.
I'll play that first.
Yeah.
Listen to your parents.
Yeah, they
As a parent
they
myself.
like that one. For me, it was kind of like an orphan child of a song, but I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but my parents are gonna like to get to hear that, and because they're listening right now. And then there's one called I Can't Find You, which is kind of more down tempo, and then the last one is called Wish You Were Dreaming, which was one that I got to have a lot of fun, kind of being experimental with some sounds, which you'll hear on that track, and it was kind of a happy little experimental. It went positively for me. So yeah.
Ellie Kashinn doing pet sounds.
That's what I was thinking. There she is, for God's sakes.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Excellent.
All right.
That's the order I'm spinning them.
Okay.
She called it.
Well, do you want to take a break in between each one, or?
No, I just want to go.
Okay,
Let's turn her loose.
Okay.
And, I mean, that's a show for us. We're heading into 1 o'clock, so she's closing out our show today.
Okay, what do you think about that, Ellie? You're the big showstopper.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, well, thanks a lot for joining us. You actually, this is a good thing for you. You sound like you're big timing us. I can't appear. It's like Van Morrison not
I can't
accepting
be there
his
today.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing. Sorry, I can't. I got
she's
things
out
going.
on tour.
I'm calling you from my hotel in New York.
It's come to this.
It has come to this. How quickly they forget.
I'm surprised she's on the phone.
Right, I know. Well, we didn't tell her you were on.
Yeah, that's true. That was a wise move.
Next time she's going to fax it in.
Yeah.
She's gonna have it
Faxed! The old fart is back. God.
I just got this off the teletype. All right, so fantastic. Well, thank you, Ellie, for stopping by. We appreciate it. And
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Terry. Wonderful having
Yep.
you here.
You
Always,
bet.
always a joy.
Good to be here.
Absolutely.
All right. The rest of the show is Ellie, and that's the way it should be.
The great Ellie Kashinn. Here we go.
We're back next week,
Thank you so
everybody.
much.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
We fight too much, it's not good for us. We don't talk enough, I know it, but still it's been bothering me that I know how it was when it was good and we were in love. And maybe we're just not who we used to be, but darling, I needed you the most. It's not like I can just let go. So I'm standing here and I know We've got days left to live. It doesn't keep going like this. How are you breathing? I don't believe in the person I've been. We've got days left to live. Days left to live. We're staring it down. We both know we're drowning. Can we just admit we've got days left to live? I stood too fast, and now I can't see. Can't tell you how bad it all is, and darling, it's bothering me that nothing I say can make this go back, and nothing I have could be enough to hold when you leave. And darling, I need you the most. I need you the most. But I'm sick of waiting for you to let go. Let go, let go, let go. We're just standing here and we both know we've got days left to live. It doesn't keep going like this. How are you breathing? I don't believe in the person I've been. We've got days left to live. Days left to live. We're staring it down. We both know we're drowning. Can we just admit we've got days left to live? This house is on fire and no one could guess the way you're just sitting there. I don't know when you're planning on acting like you even care that we're burning like this. We've got days left to live. Got days left to live. Days left to live. How are you breathing? I don't believe in the person I've been. We've got days left to live. It's bothering me. Days left to live. I fell asleep under a rainstorm. You picked me up and brought me home. We watched the lightning from the front porch. You held my hands to fight the cold. And now that memory's building rust, and I'm trying to adjust to how it's quieter in the kitchen, you know. I miss your touch, like I miss waking up to the smell of coffee and your smile, and oh, I hate the way the rain falls now. 'Cause I can feel you like you're out there and the violence coming down, but I can't find you. Against the darkness, sent your name up in the smoke. We once sat here under these stars out in this garden. Oh, that was lifetimes ago. And now it's all collecting dust, and I'm trying to adjust to how it's quieter in the car on the drive home. And I miss your touch, like I miss waking up to your good mornings. And it's aching, oh, how I hate the way the rain falls now. 'Cause I can feel you like you're out there, and the violence coming down, but I can't find you. And we walked along the train tracks the night before, and I'm trying to reconcile that you're not here anymore. 'Cause it rained and you were laughing, and now my heart is on the floor and I'm alone. And so I hate the way the rain falls now. I hope you're somewhere safe out of the violence coming down. I just miss you. And I'm sorry I can't find you. I can't find you. What does it say? That I wish you were dreaming with me in mind. What do you think is hoping a crime? Or am I allowed to be young and naive and willing to waste time? And this is not a plea, just a sad song singing how I wish you were dreaming like I have been dreaming of you for some time. Ooh, I have been dreaming of you for some time. Am I caught up? No, I think the rush of it feels just right. I wish you were dreaming with me in mind. What does it say? That I feel most alive in that passenger seat out of reach. I could dream of your hands while you drive. But this is not a plea, just a toast to some high hopes of mine. I wish a dream.